I dare people to watch Fall on the biggest screen possible because I think it straps you in for a literal cinematic thrill ride.
What's up, everybody? This is Fred Richani. We have right here via Zoom a very special guest. He is a critically acclaimed director. You may know him from such films as The Tournament, Heist, and now coming to theaters this week, a thriller by the name of Fall. We are talking to director Scott Mann. Scott, thank you so much for the time. How's everything going?
Thank you. Good. Thank you. Good. Thank you for the intro. That's great.
Hey, I do what I can. Now, no pun intended. Let's dive in. Fall. Yeah. It is a film that is getting a lot of people talking. I kind of describe it as new fear unlocked because it takes my fear of heights to new heights. Also, vultures. A lot of things going on in this film. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess principally we wanted to make a movie that kind of really captured that fear of falling, horror of heights. That was the core principle. Like I think we all feel that way. I feel that way, and I share that fear of heights that a lot of people do. And I think it's been kind of tapped into in different movie sequences, and you've seen things. But it was really to try and kind of do a cinematic experience that really takes you there and puts you through that, and kind of takes you on that roller coaster ride, so you feel your way through this journey, and you kind of feel your way all 2,000 feet up there, really.
So are you an adrenaline junkie at all, or did you just randomly wake up one day and say, you know what, I want to make the scariest possible film that involves heights?
Well, I think I definitely did the brief of wanting to make the scariest horror film ever, but for heights for sure. But no, I love the movies. I love cinema, and I think it's all about. I do think it's all about the experience of why, going there. And I think there's a combination of like sharing a story and sharing something that matters to you, but the experience and escapism you can get when things are done in a certain way, I think can be great. And I think I really wanted to accentuate that. And so yeah, I absolutely, I'm no crazy junkie, but I guess I'm a junkie for good cinema in truth. And that's and that's really what we were really pushing for the experience of Fall, for sure.
For sure. And you had a fantastic cast: Virginia Gardner, Grace Caroline Currey, Jasper Cole, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Just a fantastic little cast you had. And obviously you had the challenges of the pandemic as well. From what I understand from the lead actresses, they did a majority of their own stunts. What were some of the challenges that kind of incorporated not just the stunt work and just the challenge of filming something so unique, but also during this unique time we're in the world?
Yeah, no, it was. I think there was a few things that led up. Like, it's a strange one. In a way, it's the perfect film to shoot during COVID, right? Like when we were avoiding kind of groups and avoiding being inside. Kind of the idea of having like two leading actresses in the desert on their own. It's about as COVID friendly as you can get in terms of a film set. So weirdly, it was. It kind of leaned into that, and it also kind of played into how we decided to shoot the movie, which was we could have made this movie. Well, I say we could have. It wouldn't have gotten made had we tried to make it the $50-100 million way of doing it in the studio and faking it and doing all that stuff, right? So we were very aware to kind of shoot the film for real and doing it on location practically, and doing it and capturing it was very important to kind of bring that psychological tension to life. And I think the challenge of the movie, biggest one, is probably filming at 2,000 feet and finding a way of doing that was a big kind of technical engineering challenge that went on behind the scenes. But once we'd done that, and once we got to the position where we could do that, it was a case of being in this one kind of like small place where we could really kind of use, old school film grammar, filming it for real on these kind of IMAX sized landscapes, and really kind of film make in a very intimate way at the top of that mountain.
It definitely worked out, and you had a fantastic cast, as I mentioned. How'd you narrow it down to those few?
So look, I think I went through quite an extensive casting stage where I met a lot of actors, a lot of which, would say they were okay with heights, but I knew they weren't really okay with heights, and I wanted to kind of really push the edges on it. So I showed them kind of diagrams of how we were going to do it, and I showed them like the cliff edge and this height and the 100-foot tower thing that we were building, and it kind of washed away a lot of pretenders, let's just say, and then we did chemistry reads, got it down to kind of 10 people, and did chemistry reads with Hunter and Becky's, and when Ginny and Grace did theirs, it just came to life. The chemistry was real. They absolutely nailed the scene. Their dynamic was perfect, and in truth, they had elements of the characters within them, and I felt like that was also an important part of this. That because they're going into this environment and they're going into this very kind of because it's going to be almost reactive, kind of being up there and doing it the way we're doing it, to fall back into their own character is quite helpful, right? So they can kind of keep it in character, and the method of it all kind of, and the recipe of that method, it really works out. So they were absolutely amazing. And to your point before, like they ended up just doing, like, one, getting up and doing it and filming it from the height was one thing, but then feeling comfortable enough to really give a go of doing the stunts and getting in, and then end up doing most of the stunts themselves was just an extra layer that I didn't think we'd get to, but they absolutely went for it. They wanted to do it. Like, they were absolutely eager and keen to keep it real and do that on the top. So they totally Tom Cruised it, and it makes the movie.
Oh yeah, they did such an awesome job. Everybody could check out Fall in theaters this week, and of course in the coming weeks. So I got to ask you, Scott Mann, how did you become Scott Mann director?
I just directed loads of bad movies to get to this one. I think look, I love films. I absolutely love films, and I've wanted to. I've made a bunch of films throughout the years, but I'll be honest, I've never really owned one of them as fully as Fall, and it's usually been a case of I always want to make films from being a kid and to short films. And I kind of just got into the adoption of just do it, just like make the films, make yourself a better filmmaker by making more films, and like understand story and understand character. And as you grow as a human, like try and explore it. And that's the joy for me, actually, is like when I think, and with Fall, it's an example of it where I think I've taken something from my own life that's quite serious and kind of wrapped it into a character story. And I think it allows you to explore it properly, and I think it's a very healthy kind of process. But yeah, I ended up doing kind of I would often rewrite films, like myself and Jono. We would rewrite films and do it that way. And I always, again, love filmmaking, love films, and make the most out of them. But this one was a kernel of an idea that we came up with ourselves, and we very much wanted to do something from kind of ground up that could be this cinematic thrill ride. And so it was really, I think it's a culmination of there's probably one to say it's a culmination of 15 years of failure to get here, but it's hard. I've drifted. I'll be honest. I feel like I've with films, I've definitely felt the fact that the industry has changed over the last 20 years, like that the room for these kind of movies has been shifted so far. And I found myself in a strange world where people want to make a movie that kind of looks like 20 million for 5 million. And you end up in these weird things, and it's all kind of backward engineered, and it's not good. And this was a very different kind of film. It was, look, this is a very honest movie. It's like, it's stripping it back to kind of the realities of filmmaking and actually doing it right. And it was a joy to do, really, because of that. But yeah, I absolutely, I think that I would like to see more films like this, more kind of, the films that can kind of play in this space to be able to be enjoyed in the theaters. So I'm really thrilled that Lionsgate, loved it so much and are pushing it so hard and doing everything they're doing, because that's it. To have the opportunity to watch it at the biggest screen possible is absolutely what I'd hoped for. So I'm over the moon and proud that that's happened, obviously.
Now, before we let you go, we always like to ask all our guests some kind of random and rapid fire questions just to get to know better.
Okay, here we go. Right.
Are you ready, Scott?
No, not for rapid fire. These are the ones I fail at. Go on.
All right. There's no wrong answer here. Favorite late night snack or cheat meal?
British chocolate, definitely. Fruit and nut, Cadbury's. Yep, 100%.
All-time favorite director?
Oh, hello. James Cameron.
Oh, good choice. All-time favorite actor and actress?
I was going to say Jasper Cole, and a joint between Ginny Gardner and Grace, for sure. But yeah, I any alternatives? I guess all time. That's hard. I'll be honest, I'm a huge fan of Cruise. I think, for all the madness, I think he is an incredible filmmaker. And I think, DiCaprio is probably up there as well as an actor. These are hard questions. You said they weren't hard, but this is hard.
Hey, all fantastic answers. Now, as far as filming Fall, from what I understand, you guys did use real vultures. The actors did do a majority of their stunts. It is a thriller for sure, but was there any awkward moments when filming Fall? Something that maybe seemed a little chaotic at the time that makes for a funny story now?
I think, to be honest, every single day it was, every day was a challenge, truthfully, like more or less. Like it was like, you gotta bear in mind, every day we set off from Victorville, right, during the pandemic, driving out into the middle of the desert on these dusty roads. And then we stop at the base of a mountain, and then we have to wait, putting sunscreen on because we're burning like within seconds. And then we get these little carts take us up a rickety road, which, has got these huge drops and very scary to even be on them, all the way winding, all the way at the top of this mountain where there's a little square, which we're calling our set. And that just swarms of wasps and like rain and thunder, just crazy every day was happening. So it was kind of a survival thing for the crew as much as anything else. And we had like a biblical list of disasters that occurred, including like our set blowing down one time, which is a bit crazy. And it was just, so it was definitely very kind of Bear Grylls, no luxuries whatsoever, barely any shade. It was nasty conditions. And then, to be fair, like Grace and Ginny had the worst of it, right? Because they're trapped up there with literally no kind of shade whatsoever. So they, no one can complain because, but yeah, the filming for this was the most uncomfortable, most difficult I've ever endured in my entire life. But I'm glad we did it ultimately because we captured something really interesting. And I think that's, so the flip of it is our journey, our step to the top of the tower was worth it, I would say, for sure.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, you made it to the finish line.
Yeah.
Okay. Now people can check it out.
Yeah. No, people can check it out. Hopefully you enjoy it too. And see the madness on the screen. Yeah, for sure.
What's the best piece of advice that you give for success?
Don't be afraid to fail. Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Just, don't worry about it. Embrace failure. This is actually probably the best success. Yeah.
Love that. And no pun intended, but we'll get you out here on a high note.
Yeah.
Why should fans watch Fall?
People I think should watch Fall. I keep saying this, but I think I dare people to watch Fall on the biggest screen possible because I think it straps you in for a literal cinematic thrill ride. And it's an escapism from now that traumatizes you and pumps you out the other end and gives you something more than just what you thought you went in for it. And I think it will break your expectations. So I think it's a thrill ride that you really should go on. It's a rare thrill ride that you get in today's cinemas.
Scott, I thank you so much for the time. Bonus question. Is there anything you wish I asked you in this interview?
That's hard. I don't know. I tap into myself. Like, are you happy, Scott? But no, I think it's great. It was great. Thank you. I tapped. I think there's a lot. It's one of these things. 15 minutes is a sandwich of a squeeze to ask all these things, and I think it's great. But no, I loved it. Thank you very much. And I think it's you asked. Plenty. It was all very. It dove deep, so it was great. Thank you.
Awesome. And actually, one more question: where can we find you online, and where can we find you next?
Oh, so I'm very poor on both fronts. So find me online, ScottyMan79, with an Instagram account that probably has about 2 posts, but I will try better. But in terms of what I'm doing next, honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I've loved this experience of this kind of raw, real filmmaking, and I would like to do something more. But to be honest, I cinematic experience wise, I've shifted my notion of what is important there, and I think that is, I think we all should be making more films like this for that theatrical. We should all be like working on that theatrical experience to make more of this kind of stuff. So I'm very much kind of focused on that, but exactly what we will have to see ultimately. I have to recover from this one yet. I'm still just over the finish line. I need at least 2 weeks off.